All right, I'm here with Chris Caputo, George Washington men's basketball head coach. Appreciate your time. I know this is a crazy time of year, but
Yeah.
you know, thank you. I want to just get to, we had a discussion before the season started. Obviously, you getting your feet wet, first time as a head coach. You now look. I know that probably seems like a long time ago. You now look at this year, a very successful year. You guys, enjoyed the most overall wins, first winning A10 record since 2016, 2017. How are you feeling? Have you had time to kind of reflect at all on this first year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody in college basketball really has a chance to reflect on anything because of the transfer portal and the nature of how quickly everything's moves now. But I would say, it's not lost on us that we had a nice year for year one. If you pick 12th and finished sixth and had some individuals, have, I think career years and um, get some accolades for that. And I think more than anything, felt like we created a nice environment in the Smith Center, and had some good moments, and then obviously a lot of things that that stand out that we need to improve, and so from that perspective, yeah, I think we took some nice steps forward, but a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. And, in terms of a lot of work to do, obviously you're heading into kind of this first, full off season, right? With a year under your belt in terms of, and we talked about this a little bit, 9 months ago, but what you're looking for, your imprint, Chris Caputo type team at George Washington. What do you need to continue to do? Not just, not on the recruiting trail necessarily, but just instilling the habits that you want a George Washington team to be.
Yeah, I thought we had a great year offensively. I think we led the league in scoring, and at one point we were number one in efficiency. And I think Nathan, you know the league about as well as anybody else. I'm not sure you would have picked that to start the season. So I think we did a really good job there. We've got to be better. We've got to be better defensively. I think that's obvious, and we had some moments there defensively towards the end of the year on our little 4-game winning streak, but I think that personnel is probably a factor in that, right? And you're trying to get to a place where I think to be good defensively, you've got to have good defenders, and so we think we're going to have to improve in that area, both with kind of how we work and all that. Not that we don't, we spent a lot of time on trying to get better, but also, who's in the program, and obviously there's turnover here like there is everywhere else. So, we'll work towards that to build a roster that we feel like can defend at the level it needs to.
Absolutely. And, and I don't think it can be overstated enough. Again, that you look at the prediction of where people and coaches thought you were going to be and where you guys ended up. So obviously, I know you don't have much time to reflect, but how not just important, but the job that, again, you guys have done. And you had mentioned, even in terms of some of the momentum you've built, the home court advantage as well. How important is that as you continue to build the culture of George Washington and it being a place where, you're going to go out and watch a good game and a good brand of basketball?
Well, I think, as you know, I mean, the Smith Center is a tremendous asset, for the university, for our program. It's just such a cool place to play, watch a game. It's a unique environment. It's right smack dab in the middle of one of the great cities in the world, and it's a great size. Aesthetically, it looks great when you walk in there. Our student section's been incredible, and now, like anything, we've got to nurture that asset. We've got to invest in that asset to continue to create a great environment. I think it's fun. I get juiced up, going in there to coach when it's just a cool place to watch a game, to play. And it's really, I think, something that we can sell, in recruiting as we continue to build it. There were some incredible moments there this year, and it felt, very loud. And very just, there's something special there about it.
Absolutely. And, speaking of kind of recruiting, I know you're in the thick of it now, and it's the recruiting season. I know coaches may not love it. It seems to be going on forever now. what is for you, what is that, what is the balance? Is there a specific strategy you have in terms of, building the classes of the future, but also hitting the transfer portal? Something again that you did very successfully with your days at Miami. Is it just kind of best fit? What's that? What what's that balance? Is there a balance in regards to high school
Yeah,
and transfers?
I think trying to build some level of continuity within your program while also understanding that you're going to have to make that transfer portal work in your favor, is what I've thought about. I think probably a lot of coaches are thinking about. Um, I was, if you look at Miami's program right now in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight last year, a lot of the same faces, right? But on the other hand, right, the additions in both years of really impactful transfers, and so that's what you want to create. It's a little bit more difficult now because of the immediate eligibility and guys if they're not, if they're not playing enough or their roles, exactly not what they think it should be. They get in a situation where they um, have the opportunity to look elsewhere, and they do, obviously, by the virtue of the number of transfers. So, I think that's the challenge. That's a balancing act. I don't think you want a new team every single year, and yet, you're going to be a lot of new faces in every program. I think, I look at Duquesne and the success that Coach Damprot was able to have by bringing in, essentially a new team. My understanding, and so there's going to be a lot of that, but then I would also look at like a place like VCU who maintain the level of continuity while adding, key pieces. And so that's what we'd like to get to, right? Is somewhere where you're familiar with our players over a couple of years, and yet we're also leveraging the transfer portal like we did at Miami and like GW has in the past. When we started 5 transfers this year and had the rookie of the year who was a transfer, the most improved player of the year who was a transfer, and the and James Bishop, a first team all league player who's a transfer.
Absolutely. Well, listen, last question. Again, appreciate the time. Obviously, Miami's there. With Larinaga. How much just seeing their success. I know you're a huge part of that program. Been with Larinaga forever. How much fun is it just to kind of watch them, and also just that motivation for you again to kind of build George Washington to that point where you guys will also have that opportunity to go dance, and just how special is that, and you just kind of watching him do what he's done.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Coach. I mean, obviously, he's just done a masterful job again with this team. Um, the the idea that we've made 4 Sweet 16s in 10 years, and I saw the list of the programs that have done that as well. And I mean, it's basically the perennial powers of college basketball, and to look back and say, man, over a 10-year period or so, uh, Miami is there with some of the programs with tremendous amount of history. I mean, people forget that they didn't have a program in the 70s. There's no basketball there. And so to get to the point where, you could be successful, okay, one, and be respectable and whatever, but to the point where, hey, listen, like in 10 years, you're one of only like maybe 10 or 15 teams that have been to the Sweet 16 4 times. That's pretty incredible. And obviously credit to everybody there and coach and administration. And yeah, I think for me, I've always had a belief that we can win here at GW and have success and be towards the top of the A10. And I think if you're towards the top of the A10, you're in contention to be in the postseason and things like that. So it's been done here in the past. We can get back there again. I thought, again, I look at it as anybody who's watching the NCAA tournament that's in coaching that's not there has motivation to get there, because it's such a cool event. And then the fact that I've been there and pretty deep number of times, I know what that looks like, and we all want to experience that. We want our players to experience it mostly. I think you don't think of it necessarily for yourself. If I don't go back again, I've had more than enough opportunities and memories, but for my players, for the student athletes to take part in what is really the best sporting event in the world, probably. That's what you want for your team. That's what you want for the guys that play for you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Chris, thank you again. I appreciate it as always. Love what you're doing. Great first year, and obviously continued success, but we'll definitely be in touch.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.